Hi guys, Miss Francis here. We left off last time comparing and contrasting mitosis and meiosis. This is another great image that shows the differences and similarities between mitosis and meiosis. This is a really cute little t-shirt about meiosis. And these are two additional animations that you can use as resources when asked to compare and contrast mitosis and meiosis. So sexual life cycles, such as meiosis, produce genetic variation among offspring. The three major mechanisms that contribute to genetic variation are independent assortment, which is the random orientation of homologous pairs, crossing over, and random fertilization. These are our three vocabulary words for this video. So if you have not added those vocabulary words to your list, pause the video and do so. So let's first talk about independent assortment. Independent assortment is the random orientation, the random positioning of the tetrads, of those homologous pairs at the metaphase plate, where there's a 50-50 chance that either mom's going to line up on one side or dad's going to line up on the other side. So let's take a look at possibility 1. Let's ignore possibility 2 for the time being. I can have either dad on the left side or mom on the left side, or dad on the left side or mom on the left side, where I could get 2 of dad from each one of those tetrads in one daughter cell, or I can get 2 from mom, 2 chromosomes from that homologous pair. Now let's look at possibility 2. So maybe dad orients itself on the left and mom orients itself on the right again, but now I have mom on the left and dad on the right. So this time, when my daughter cell separates during anaphase and then telophase, now I've got dad and mom in one of my cells, and then mom and dad in another one of my cells. So do you see how I get this genetic variation? Through the random positioning of those tetrads down the equator. The possible combinations that you could have due to this mechanism is 2 to the nth power. So I could get 2 to the nth possible combinations of gametes when chromosomes assort themselves independently, where that n is the haploid number of the organism. So if I take the fruit fly has 8 chromosomes, meaning it would have 2 to the 8th power potential combinations of gametes. Humans have 23 chromosomes, so we have 2 to the 23rd potential combinations in our gametes, which is almost 8 million different combinations. In addition to independent assortment, crossing over is another mechanism for variations. Crossing over is what I like to say when the chromosomes kind of play footsie with one another. Part of one of the homologous pair is shared with part of the other homologous pair. And what you end up with is these recombinant chromosomes. So the process of the exchange of alleles between 2 chromosomes within a homologous pair is known as synapsis, and that happens during prophase 1, where the alleles that are found in each gamete are then going to vary. So like I said, crossing over involves homologous portions of 2 non-sister chromatids trading places, where one sister chromatid may undergo different patterns of crossing over than its match. The third mechanism that creates variation in offspring is the random nature of fertilization. Any sperm can potentially fuse with any egg during fertilization. So here's a summary of the three sources of genetic variability in a sexual reproducing organism. You've got independent assortment, crossing over, and random fertilization. Taken together, these three mechanisms reshuffle the genes that are carried by the individual members of a population. Due to this, we have variations. Now, Darwin was a premier scientist that recognized these variations. He didn't know that the variations were due to mutations, for example. He didn't know about DNA or genes or chromosomes, but mutations are changes in DNA, which result in variations in those DNA. Now, Darwin recognized the importance of that variation in evolution via the process of natural selection, where he realized that individuals that were best suited for that local environment are going to leave the most offspring. Why? Because they are most likely to survive, therefore more likely to reproduce, therefore transmitting their genes in the process, where from generation to generation, you've got this accumulation of those favorable adaptations. Well, we now know that those favorable adaptations come from those genetic variations. So to conclude, sex and mutations are two sources of the continual generations of new genetic variability.